line out, bag it up.
Hi everyone, I'm Ken Verderami, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the podcast once again. For those of you who are long-time listeners, again, thank you very much for hanging in there all these years with us. Today's topic is something that I don't think we talk too much about, but is actually one of those baseline skills that are what I call speed enablers. So we'll get into that here in a second. But before we do, remember, if you are interested in my dry fire training system for Steel Challenge, head on over to our website at steelshootbanners.com, all one word, and you'll see we have all 8 stages in banner form that you can check out for dry fire. We also have over 40 USPSA training banners, different drills, and we have 15 official US classifier stages in banner form, and we even have the 3 official GSSF official stages if you're a Glock competition shooter and shoot those competitions. So check those all out. Of course, don't forget my books, the new book out, Do You Still Feel the Need for Speed? The updated version. It's got over 40 new pages of material, including new chapters, updated chapters, and some new drills. And then, of course, my other book on the mental side of the sport, which is The Game Within the Game, Mastering the Steel Challenge Mental Game. Those books, of course, not only are the only books on the market dedicated 100% to the sport of Steel Challenge, you can get them at Amazon Books at any time. All right, so let's get into this. So the speed enabler that I want to talk about today is target-focused shooting versus sight-focused shooting. Okay? It's something that USPSA shooters are well aware of, particularly at the higher levels. If you expect to progress past a B class in USPSA, you're going to need to learn to do mostly target-focused shooting. Ben Steiger, among others, is a big proponent of this. If you're fortunate enough to take one of his classes, and by the way, we still have slots available in his USPSA Fundamentals and Skills and Drills class that I hold every year at our range next April. You can check that out on his website for the dates and specifics, or just email me directly. And he spends a lot of time talking about target-focused shooting and its importance to being able to shoot quickly. Well, what's good for USPSA is good for Steel Challenge as well, and being able to shoot target-focused will help speed you up. So one of the things that, if you're relatively new to shooting, or maybe you've been shooting a long time but are only an iron sight shooter, is you've always heard this, if you shoot an open gun, if you shoot with a dot, you'll shoot faster, right? That's a common theme you hear all the time. And while in general it's true, you may not realize why it's true, okay? A lot of people think that, with a dot, you just got the dot to look at, and then with irons, you got the front sight and the rear sight. Excuse me. And so you got a lot more going on there, and therefore the dot is quicker to shoot. Well, while that happens to be physically true, that's really not the reason you shoot faster with the dot. The other part of this is, if you may notice that there are lots of open dot shooters who don't appear to be all that fast. In fact, there are lots of top iron sight shooters who can actually shoot on par with or even faster than some dot shooters. And you're like, well, why not? I got a dot gun. That shouldn't happen. Well, the reason is because of the focusing techniques they are using. It's not simply enough to have a dot and be able to shoot fast. Okay, yes, you will shoot relatively faster compared to you with the same skill with a iron sight gun, but in absolute terms, you're going to be still slower than anyone who shoots an open gun with the dot and has learned proper techniques. And also, you might be slower than some iron sight guys, okay? And if you don't believe this, go back to the World Championships or the Nationals last couple of years and look at the top shooters, right? And right, they're all competing for the Steel Master Award, which means they have to shoot at least one iron sight division as opposed in addition to their open dot divisions. And go look at their times. What you'll see is their times for their iron sight gun is not that much slower than their open gun. Right? It really isn't. And in fact, it's faster than many, many, many people who shoot open guns. Okay. And so what's going on there is because they've learned this primarily target focused shooting technique, they're able to shoot irons really fast as well as shoot an open gun even faster. Okay. So what is this all about? So in sight focused shooting, as you can imagine, right, you're focusing on your sights, right? We hold that. You've heard, hard front sight focus, equal height, equal light, all that kind of stuff where you're staring at that front post and the back sights are blurry and you get this perfect sight, clear picture. And you do that for, right, when you first start shooting out, you're doing that for every target. Then as you progress, you realize you can get away with a little less of a sight picture for close targets, but far away targets, you still do that hard target focused. Well, with an open gun, if you're shooting an open gun with a dot correctly, you are never doing sight focused shooting. Okay, let me repeat that. You're not ever doing sight focused shooting. A dot gun with a red dot is target focused shooting 100% of the time. If this is you, where you are looking at your open gun and you see that dot real clearly and you're tracking that dot all the time, you are doing target focused, you're doing sight focused shooting with your open gun, and you are causing yourself to be very slow relatively when you shouldn't be. The whole advantage of a dot gun is you can now shoot target focused all the time. Okay, maybe on a 40-yard popper, you might not be able to do that. But any target inside of 20 yards, if you're even remote reasonably skilled, you should be shooting those targets target focused with a dot gun. Okay, and I will tell you that even with an iron sight gun, 15 yards and inside, you should still be shooting all those targets target focused as well. And if you think about steel challenge targets, there's not many targets that are outside of 15 yards, right? There's pendulum is one, speed option has a couple, and accelerator does, and so does, accelerator has one, and that's about it, right? I don't count the big rectangle targets at long distances because those target areas are really big, and so they're actually easier targets to shoot, okay? So even for those couple of targets, that's about it for iron sights. All right, so what are we talking about here for technique? So let's talk about the dot gun first. Basically, target focused shooting is what it sounds like. You should not be focused on the dot. You should be looking through the sight, past the dot, at the target. Okay? The target is what should be in focus, not the dot, not your iron sights. Okay? That's target focused shooting. And once you learn to do this for most targets, you will be amazed at how much faster you're able to shoot a target once you get the dot on the target. You're not looking for this clear, perfect dot sight picture. You're just looking for essentially this red kind of blurry thing that gets on the target. And when it does, right, red on white, you pull the trigger. That's really what target focused shooting is about. And that enables you to shoot much, much faster because you're not wasting all this time trying to develop a sight picture when all you care about is you see red on the target and you see the target clearly and you pull the trigger. Okay. Similarly, with iron sights, same kind of thing. Okay. You don't look for this laser clear focused hard front sight. You're going to look through your rear sight. You're going to look past your front sight post, and you're going to look at the target and try to see the target past your sights. Your sights are going to be blurry, but that's okay. If they're on the target, which is clear, you are good to pull the trigger. And if you do everything else correctly, namely keep the sights on the target as you break the shot, it's going to hit the target every time. Okay. Now, if you've never done target focused shooting at all, it's going to be a little uncomfortable to untrain yourself to not have a clear sight picture and still say, hey, I can hit that target every time, particularly under pressure in a match. And so it's going to take, no surprise here, some training. Okay. This is where dry fire is a huge deal, right? You're never going to shoot enough bullets in live fire to learn this technique in any reasonable amount of time. It's going to take you forever. If you dry fire, a few weeks, months at most, and you should be learning to shoot target focused for every short close-in target, and then as you get comfortable and your skills progress, you'll start doing this for these far targets as well. And like I said, even as an iron sight shooter, there is no reason for every target 15 yards and inside, you should be shooting the entire stage target focused, okay? And if you think about it, that's most stages in Steel Challenge. And so by learning a target focused technique versus always shooting sight focused, you will be amazed at how much faster you shoot and how much you cut off your stage times and individual string times, okay? So give that a try. Basically, you can shoot the same drills that you shoot now, but focus on target-focused type of sight picture when you're engaging targets as opposed to a hard sight focus. If you want, right, you can just start out very simply. Set up some targets at 5, 10, and 15 yards and just shoot doubles, right? Take one target on the timer, draw and fire 2 shots at the target and get comfortable with target focused for that 2 shots, and then work your way up to 10 yards and then 15 yards and try to maintain, right, good groups and everything else, and slowly develop those skills. And as you start to get comfortable with understanding what target focused shooting looks like, right, clear target, blurry sights, you will then can start incorporating this in your basic drills, and target focused shooting becomes something of a normalization, and you don't have to think about it as much. All right. So I think that's going to do it for this one. So again, the key point here, target focused shooting is way faster than sight focused shooting. You can do it for almost all targets on Steel Challenge. It doesn't matter if you're an iron sight shooter or an open shooter with a dot. Target focused shooting is the way to faster times on every stage. Okay. And so remember, as always, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see faster.